Shot in the sun-baked badlands of Spain and Italy, with a budget that allowed Leone his grandest vision yet, this is the story of a mysterious harmonica player seeking revenge, a ruthless killer in the pay of progress, a cunning outlaw, and a resilient woman fighting for her future on land soaked in blood. It's slow, deliberate, operatic, every frame a painting, every glance loaded with meaning. Often hailed as one of the greatest films ever made, Once Upon a Time in the West boasts a dream cast blending Hollywood legends with European stars, all delivering performances that linger like dust on the wind. Today, in this celebration, we'll explore the main credited actors, their names, ages during that grueling 1968 shoot, roles, awards, careers, personal stories, and behind-the-scenes gems. And at the end, a special tribute to the uncredited players who filled Leone's vast world. Let's begin with the beating heart of the film, Claudia Cardinale as Jill McBain. Claudia Cardinale, born Claude Josephine Rose Cardinale on April 15, 1938, in Tunis, Tunisia, then French Protectorate, was 30 years old during the 1968 filming, at the absolute peak of her beauty and international stardom. With her expressive eyes, voluptuous figure, and natural charisma, she was often called the most beautiful woman in the world during the 1960s. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Cardinale plays Jill McBain, a former New Orleans prostitute who marries Irish farmer Brett McBain sight unseen, arriving to find her new family slaughtered. Jill evolves from vulnerable newcomer to determined landowner, using wit and sensuality to survive in a man's world, ultimately representing the civilizing force of the future. Leone originally wanted a typical American actress, but cast Cardinale for her exotic allure. Her voice was dubbed by Joyce Gordon in English, as with many Italian productions. Fun fact: the famous 360-degree crane shot welcoming her to Flagstone took days to set up, and Cardinale endured the Spanish heat in heavy period costumes. Cardinale's career began with beauty contests in Tunisia, leading to Italian films like Big Deal on Madonna Street, 1958. Breakthroughs came in Fellini's 8 1/2, 1963 as herself like Muse, and Visconti's The Leopard, 1963 opposite Burt Lancaster. She won multiple David Di Donatello Awards, Italy's Oscar equivalent, including for Girl with a Suitcase, 1961, and The Day of the Owl, 1968. International hits include The Pink Panther, 1963, Circus World, 1964 with John Wayne, and The Professionals, 1966. A UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for Women's Rights since 2000, she received a career Golden Lion at Venice in 1993 and honorary awards worldwide. Mother of two, long partnered with director Pasquale Squitieri until his death. At 87, in 2025, she's one of the last Golden Age survivors. Jill McBain is her most iconic role, a woman who bends the West to her will. Henry Fonda as Frank. Henry Fonda, born May 16, 1905, in Grand Island, Nebraska, and passing August 12, 1982, at age 77, was 63 years old during filming, a Hollywood icon known for noble heroes, making his casting as the villain a masterstroke of against-type brilliance. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Fonda plays Frank, the black-clad, blue-eyed killer working for the railroad, slaughtering the McBains and pursuing Jill's land. His chilling calm and sudden violence shocked audiences used to Fonda as honest everyman. Leone flew to America to convince him, describing the child shooting reveal. The camera pans up to Henry Fonda. Fonda wore contacts for colder eyes and accepted for the challenge. Fun fact, his massacre scene was shot first to capture raw shock, and Fonda grew a mustache to hide his familiar face longer. Fonda's career began on Broadway with Omaha Community Playhouse, breaking in films with The Farmer Takes a Wife, 1935. Icons include Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, Oscar nom, Wyatt Earp in My Darling Clementine, 1946, Juror 8 in 12 Angry Men, 1957, produced and starred. He won his only Oscar for On Golden Pond, 1981 with Daughter Jane, plus honorary in 1980. BAFTA for 12 Angry Men. Father of Jane and Peter Fonda, grandfather of Bridget, WWAI Navy service, liberal activist. Frank remains his most daring role, proving nice guys can play pure evil unforgettable. Charles Bronson as Harmonica. Charles Bronson, born Charles Dennis Baczynski on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, and passing August 30, 2003, at age 81, was 47 years old, a tough guy specialist, finally getting his breakthrough laid in Europe. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Bronson plays the mysterious man known only as Harmonica, a vengeance-driven stranger with few words but deadly aim, stalking Frank for a childhood trauma revealed in the climax. His stoic presence, squinting eyes, and haunting harmonica make him mythic. Leone wanted him after Clint Eastwood turned it down. Fun fact: Bronson did many stunts himself, and his minimal dialogue, under 20 lines, let Morricone's theme carry his character. From a poor coal mining family, one of 15 children Lithuanian descent, Bronson served in WWAI as a B-29 gunner, changed name for McCarthy era. Early roles in You're in the Navy Now, 1951 debut, House of Wax, 1953. Breakthrough in The Magnificent Seven, 1960, The Great Escape, 1963, The Dirty Dozen, 1967. Golden Globe nom for supporting in Spartacus, 1960, but not won. Later action star in Death Wish series, married Jill Ireland from 1968 until her 1990 death. Harmonica launched his European stardom, making him a spaghetti western king. Jason Robards as Cheyenne. Jason Robards, born Jason Nelson Robards Jr., on July 26, 1922, in Chicago, and passing December 26, 2000, at age 78, was 46 years old, a stage titan making rare film appearances. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Robards plays Cheyenne, the charming, philosophical outlaw framed for the McBain massacre, allying with Jill and Harmonica. His wry humor and humanity balance the film's darkness. Fun fact: Robards was drunk in some scenes for authenticity, and his capture-escape sequence showcases his physical comedy. Son of actor Jason Robards Sr., WWAI Navy veteran, survived Pearl Harbor attack. Stage breakthrough in O'Neill plays, winning Tony for The Disenchanted, 1959. Consecutive Oscars for All the President's Men, 1976 as Ben Bradley and Julia, 1977. Emmy for Inherit the Wind, 1988. Triple Crown of Acting. Films include 1,000 Clowns, 1965, Magnolia, 1999. Alcoholic recovery-inspired roles. Married 4 times with 6 children. Cheyenne is his most iconic Western role, blending toughness with soul. Gabriel Ferzetti as Morton. Gabriel Ferzetti, born Pasquale Ferzetti on March 17, 1925, in Rome, and passing December 2, 2015, at age 90, was 43 years old, an elegant Italian leading man. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Ferzetti plays Morton, the dying railroad baron hiring Frank to clear land. Dreaming of the Pacific, but betrayed by ambition and illness, his crippled vulnerability contrasts Frank's brutality. Fun fact: Ferzetti's voice was dubbed in English, common for Italian productions. Ferzetti studied at Rome's Academy of Dramatic Art, debuting in 1942. Breakthrough in Antonioni's Ella Ventura, 1960 as Sandro. International in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969 as Draco, Bond's father-in-law. Over 160 credits, David Di Donatello Awards. Married with daughter Anna, actress. Morton is his most memorable villain, a man destroyed by his own dream. Paolo Stoppa as Sam. Paolo Stoppa, born June 6, 1906, in Rome, and passing May 1, 1988, at age 81, was 62 years old, a veteran Italian character actor. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Stoppa plays Sam, the jovial stagecoach driver welcoming Jill, providing comic relief. Fun fact: his warm performance eases early tension. Stoppa's career spanned theater, with Visconti, and over 200 films, often comedy with Toto. International in Miracle in Milan, 1951, The Leopard, 1963, no major awards but beloved in Italy, married to actress Rosella Falk. Sam showcases his avuncular charm. Woody Strode as Stoney. Woody Strode, born Woodrow Wilson Woolwine Strode on July 25, 1914, in Los Angeles, and passing December 31, 1994, at age 80, was 54 years old, an athletic pioneer. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Strode plays Stoney, one of the three gunmen waiting for Harmonica, killed in the opening. His imposing presence sets tension. Fun fact: Strode was a decathlete and NFL pioneer, with Kenny Washington breaking color barrier. UCLA football star, Olympic hopeful, films with Ford, Sergeant Rutledge, 1960 title role, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962, Golden Globe nom for Spartacus, 1960 as Draber, over 100 credits, married twice. Stoney highlights his physical menace. Jack Elam as Snakey. Jack Elam, born William Scott Elam on November 13, 1920, in Miami, Arizona, and passing October 20, 2003, at age 82, was 48 years old, famous for lazy eye villains. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Elam plays Snakey, the fly-tormented gunman in the iconic opening, killed by Harmonica. His eccentric menace is unforgettable. Fun fact: childhood injury caused his eye. Leone loved it for close-ups. From accountant to actor, Elam in over 200 westerns. TV. Comedic turn in Support Your Local Sheriff, 1969. No major awards, but cult icon. Married twice with children. Snakey is his most famous villain. Keenan Wynn as Sheriff. Keenan Wynn, born Francis Xavier Aloysius James Jeremiah Keenan Wynn on July 27, 1916, in New York City, and passing October 14, 1986, at age 70, was 52 years old, son of comedian Ed Wynn. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Wynn plays the sheriff, ineffectual law in a lawless town, auctioning Sweetwater. Fun fact: his gravelly voice adds humor to powerlessness. Over 200 credits: Dr. Strangelove, 1964 as Colbat Guano, Annie Get Your Gun, 1950, Golden Globe nom, married multiple times, sheriff represents fadding old law. Frank Wolf as Brett McBain. Frank Wolf, born Walter Frank Herman Wolf, on May 11, 1928, in San Francisco, and passing December 12, 1971, at age 43 by suicide, was 40 years old, an American in Europe. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Wolf plays Brett McBain, optimistic Irish farmer building for railroad, slaughtered with family in shocking opener. Fun fact: his warm performance makes massacre more tragic. From Corman horrors to Italian films, The Great Silence, 1968, tragically ended life in Rome Hotel, Brett sets the film's violent tone. Lionel Stander as Barman. Lionel Stander, born Lionel J. Stander on January 11, 1908, in the Bronx, New York, and passing November 30, 1994, at age 86, was 60 years old, blacklisted survivor with raspy voice. In Once Upon a Time in the West, Stander plays the barman, cigar-chomping saloon owner serving Harmonica and Jill. Fun fact: his gruff warmth provides brief respite. Blacklisted in 1950s for refusing HUAC, worked in Europe. Heart to Heart, 1970-9198 for as Max, Golden Globe win. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, 1936. Barman is a memorable cameo. Before we ride off, a heartfelt tribute to the uncredited players who filled Leone's world. Al Mulock as Knuckles, the third station gunman, tragically suicided during filming. The young McBain children Enzo Santaniello Timmy, Simonetta Santaniello Maureen, Stefano Imperato Patrick, whose innocence makes the massacre devastating. Marco Zunelli as Wobbles, Claudio Mancini as Harmonica's brother in Flashback, and many more ranch hands, townsfolk, and gunmen. These unsung artists, stunt performers, and extras brought authenticity to every dusty street and silent stair. Without them, Leone's epic wouldn't breathe. Thank you for your vital contributions. As the harmonica fades into the wind and the railroad stretches toward the Pacific, Once Upon a Time in the West leaves us with a mythic meditation on the death of the Old West and the birth of something new, often cruel, always unstoppable. Sergio Leone's vision, Ennio Morricone's immortal score, and this extraordinary cast turned a genre tribute into one of cinema's greatest achievements. From Claudia Cardinale's resilient beauty to Henry Fonda's shocking evil, Charles Bronson's silent fury to Jason Robards' roguish charm, and every supporting soul who brought the dust and dreams to life, they created magic that time can't erase. Thank you for joining this journey through Leone's masterpiece. What's your favorite moment, favorite performance? Share in the comments. Let's keep the conversation alive. If this stirred your Western soul, subscribe for more classics, and share with fellow cinephiles. Until the next trail, keep watching the skis and remember, in the West, legends never truly die. Thanks for watching.